I had a much needed rest day yesterday, and I ended up just taking things a step at a time. I think at the time I was going to, after the recording of that vlog, I was going to have lunch. And then, I ended up just watching some YouTube videos. I watched some ASMR, which I find really useful at times when I'm feeling very unwell and really sensitive to things as well. So I kind of I kind of found that really useful, and I listen to that quite a lot when I'm outside. More and more I feel quite vulnerable and fragile, so I find any sort of music can be too much, too overwhelming on my senses, but I'm able to listen to ASMR and certain types where the nature of it is gentle and very soft, and it seems to be something I'm able to use to help and enjoy. So I'm grateful for that. I've actually made a few playlists, so because often there's so much content on, lots of so much content out there, so I found it would be easier to create some playlists for myself that I don't have to seek something out. I can just sort of play something that I think has been helpful before, and I want to really add more stuff, more playlists, but sometimes it's hard to find what I'm looking for, and I only listen to certain types of audios outside. Usually it's like positive affirmations or things like that help when I'm out walking, and I use my noise cancelling headphones. So yesterday I listened to some at home, which was nice, a nice change. I haven't done that in a while, and I just watched some other types of YouTube videos, some animal based ones where so much variety, I guess, on YouTube, but just purposely just watch something that I wouldn't normally watch, or even just guilty pleasures, I guess, as well. I found that took my mind off things, and then later in the day I watched that series I had planned, which was good, and it was as expected. It was enough to keep my interest and distract me, and but not too overwhelming. That there was no real there wasn't a huge amount of violence. There was now and again there was something, but it was it was tolerable. And then I had the intention for today to get up, and something I mentioned in the past video, get up to do yoga and to get out to write, and it turned into another rest day. One thing I've tried to do is just listen to my mind and body, even though there's an intention to do something, and it was a challenge to realize the fine line between making an effort and pushing myself for it to be healthy, or if that would have negative consequences. And ultimately I started off with pushing myself. I started doing yoga and realized that my body was in pain, and it was too much of a stress on my mind to push myself to keep doing it. So midway through, following a yoga video and being on my mat, I just stopped. I thought it's too much, and I'm glad I did. Yeah, and I just sensed that it wasn't a good time for me to push myself. It was, especially having a week of pushing myself a lot, and I could sense I just needed some more time to rest, and not to make it a huge thing as well, just to sense when rest is needed, and to go with the flow when there's energy to do things, and that in itself is an art, because I find I go to one extreme than the other. Like if I have a good day or two, then I desperately want to keep that up and not lose that momentum. And then when I do have a down day, you could take that in both ways, really feeling down, and maybe a down day in terms of relaxing, where I'm not being super productive, then sometimes it's hard to get myself out of that. Sometimes it's easy to slip into sort of feeling feeling low, and where you just want to hibernate. You just want to almost stay there for a while, and not, even when there's energy to do stuff, there's just it's still sometimes the pain so much that it's not enough to push through and get back almost above surface again, and start building and being active and getting outside. So today, after like stopping, doing a tiny bit of yoga, doing half of the video, I guess, so maybe more than I give myself credit for. I just ended up sitting cross-legged, and I watched a spiritual video, which was something I had in mind as to do more, and I'm not sure if I mentioned that in my last vlog, but I just sat cross-legged on the yoga mat, just watched some of that, and then after that I kind of just sat in silence. I closed my eyes, and I was just aware of the strain in my mind, and I was aware my body was tired, and my mood was low. So, and I just sat there, tried to be present, just tried to sense what to do. Almost, I kind of embraced the uncertainty and just thought, okay, I just didn't know what to do with myself, so I just sat there. And then eventually there was a thought saying, perhaps I can push myself to go to a cafe. It would be nice to do a bit of editing. There was a bit of an itch to get back to the novel I'm working on, and close to the end of it, and so that kind of gave me a bit of energy. But then it started to rain really heavy, and that sort of gave me the answer I needed to. I thought that's too much of a challenge to negotiate that, and it was just one thing too much, and so I ended up just resting today, again watching some more of the series. I did end up talking to a friend on the phone, so I think it's good to acknowledge that as well. And I think it seems like a healthy thing to do, even though it can be just generally communication of people is always, it can be an effort, and it's just the nature for more so for me. So I'm glad I was able to do that, and it's a friend I feel safe with to talk regularly, where yeah, it feels that I'm able to do that, and it's nice to try and keep that up, because I fear that if I completely isolate myself, then it will be very hard to yeah, I just want to isolate myself more, and I'll become maybe more sensitive, or more it'd be more of a difficulty for me to maintain friendships and stuff, and then again, it's the fine line of not pushing myself to keep in touch and with everyone, which is what I did this past week, and then I kind of feeling the effects of that now. So again, it's this kind of fine line between making an effort to be in a healthy way, but also easing back, or stopping, or taking a break when needed. And again, it's a difficult thing to balance. So today I ended up just watching some of the chess. It's a big chess tournament that's currently on, so just watching a little bit of that, and watch some of the series. And yeah, I didn't do anything too mentally heavy, like reading, which is something I thought about doing today. Then it just didn't happen, so that's okay. Yeah, I can sense my mind feeling more relaxed, so it seems to be working, and I can still feel there's, even though it's relaxed, it's I've got to be careful of easing myself back into stuff, like phone calls and seeing people, and as well as the writing and reading. So it's a bit of kind of checking in with myself regularly, and almost like a barometer, just keeping a bit more track of that as well. I think that would be good. And I had the idea of perhaps, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I started a channel a couple of years ago where I'd just recap sort of TV shows, and it would just be something just for fun and enjoyment, and again to add some sort of purpose and productivity to my time. So I thought about picking that up again, because I think I just recorded 2 videos for a series and a movie a long time ago, so I thought it might be good to even re-watch shows that I've liked, and then just maybe take some notes and share those notes on a recording, and have it in a relaxed way, where it's not like a serious review or recap of the show. It's just sharing what I want to share about the episode. Just sharing maybe the notes I made during the episodes. I thought that might be a fun thing to do, where I can kind of mindfully rewatch or something, or if it's watching for the first time, then kind of do that. That might be quite good to do. And naturally my mind is forging ahead and already thinking about like YouTube thumbnails, and would it be nice to have the series title and the thumbnail, and creating that. So I think there's there's online websites where you can create thumbnails and download the image, so something that's simple, and it's funny, little things add a bit of stress, or can dampen an idea, or dampen the inspiration for it, I think. So I was thinking, do I have the effort to kind of go, to create a thumbnail? Maybe if I'm sharing my notes for each episode of a show, then I can just use the same thumbnail, almost just change the kind of episode number and the title in the thumbnail title. But yeah, sometimes the mind kind of forges ahead a bit and just seeks out any worries or any potential things that may get in the way. So we'll see how it goes, and yeah, perhaps I can share. I do create content for that. I can share it, the YouTube channel here as well. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear the rain that's still falling. I am tempted to kind of go out in the rain and to upload this vlog because I upload it straight from my phone, so and I can't do it. The reception's not good enough in here to do it, and it's still light outside-ish. It's going to get dark quite soon, so I'm going to get in my waterproof trousers and Mac on and just walking around the block. And sometimes it's nice walking in the rain when you're fully protected. It's quite an experience sometimes. But yeah, I'll see after recording this really. I also wanted to record an episode for the podcast as well that I do. So I might do that. And not sure if I should link the podcast to this, because it feels like it's two separate things really. It's kind of my spiritual journey into that, and I don't know, I think I'm a bit self-conscious, if I'm being honest with myself, that I'm going to be seen in a poor light, where in the podcast it's a different energy I use, and don't know if just maybe it's fear of being judged, because in the podcast I record it when I'm in a very present way, so I'm quite specific with my language and my energy, and it just almost feels like if someone was to listen to that and then listen to this, that I don't know, not that I'm trying to be, quotes, spiritual person, but I don't know, something that's not allowing me to maybe share that or connect stuff. So maybe I'll try and figure that out to see what that is, because it's nice to be comfortable with yourself and all sides of myself, and it doesn't feel like that's there really, that there's this fear that, not that I'm acting in a certain way, but it may seem like that I'm sort of acting in one way, then I'm acting differently in another way, and I feel like it's more a case of there's different sides to ourselves, of how we are. So in this channel, it's easy for me just to be completely free, because it's just a kind of an outpouring, where in the podcast I'm sort of shaping something, and I'm only displaying or sharing a certain energy, whether I'm giving a guided meditation, or talking any sort of spiritual topic, or while I'm reading a book. It's done in a very sort of mindful way, and maybe part of that's just how I see myself, because sometimes that can be distorted. I can imagine, me like right now thinking that the way I am in the podcast to the way I'm here is, oceans apart. But really, maybe if someone was to watch both and think, oh no, I can see you in both of those, and you're consistent and genuine. But maybe something will align where those two things will come up. But yeah, so I'm going to try and do some recording for that, and maybe I'll just record after this really, because it might take a bit of energy for me just to get some waterproof clothes on and go outside, and maybe maybe it'll be a bit too much for me. It's quite heavy rain as well, so perhaps it would be good for me just to upload this tomorrow morning, with uploading the podcast stuff as well. That'd be good. And yeah, I'll sort of process more about the other YouTube channel. I think I called it something like TV Friend, I think, which I think I wanted something really welcoming and wholesome and warm and inviting, where, you know, you're almost like checking in with a friend. I think that's the idea I had, but I don't know, again, I feel self-conscious about that. Like it's too, I don't know, too gimmicky or too... But yeah, that's a common thing I do a lot. It's a lot of sort of judging myself and being hard on myself. That's something that, if I was to be, you know, trying to be honest and clear, that's something that I do more so than I wish to. Something just to be aware of initially is a good step. So yeah, so hopefully a positive sort of rest over these last couple of days, and especially after what's happened, it's almost as if there's been a bit more awareness of managing myself instead of just falling, because almost sometimes the mood dropping can be like just falling through a trap door and you're immediately at rock bottom, but now I've sensed a slow gradient of going into a low mood, but I've managed to almost meet it where it is and do what I need to stabilize a little bit. So I can sense still I feel vulnerable and fragile, but I also sense that I've given myself what I needed with the rest and the no pressure in a day to do anything. You know, to watch whatever I wanted to, knowing that I'm just keeping an eye on the strength building or my rest building recovery, and then, you know, whether it's tomorrow or the next day, or yeah, just slowly easing back into kind of that productivity of writing and you know, recording this, which I've kept up, which is it's nice to do. So yeah, I feel it'd be good to it'd be really good to get to bed at a good time. So yesterday I think I managed like 11 o'clock, which was okay. 10:30 would be great, or even I did have the idea of being in bed earlier, perhaps seeing how my body reacts going to bed a bit earlier, and seeing if, so maybe that could be good as well. So yeah, that feels like one of the most challenging things for me at the moment is bedtime, to get myself in bed. And I think that's when sometimes a lot of mental pain arises, or, you know, whatever I feel vulnerable about, whether it's loneliness or things like that. Those kind of seem to show themselves more in the evening. There's a different sort of evening energy, and the bed seems to, I guess, because when I go to sleep, it's just dealing with the thoughts, or wanting to avoid the thought of dealing with those thoughts, I guess, which is what keeps me up, or which is what the mind sort of says, oh yeah, watch another YouTube video, just to try and avoid the pain. So a couple of nights ago I did put on like a guided meditation, so that might be a good transition for bed, perhaps, to, if there's an app which has got quite a few guided meditations and things, so maybe that will be good to do, and maybe ease myself into sleep. And so I'm going to see how I feel in the morning and check in with my body and my mind. And I think if I feel too tired for yoga in the morning, that's my intention, is to do some yoga. Then perhaps I can find just some light sort of body stretches. That might be a good alternative, as I found out this morning that the effort to push myself wasn't helpful. So perhaps I can sort of retool in a different way tomorrow, and begin with that. And the same with writing and reading. I can play things by ear, and I'll see if I end up recording tomorrow as well. Again, not putting any pressure or expectations on myself, even though I've recorded several days consecutively. Then I'm going to try and not have that as an expectation, to keep up content in that way. Just try and enjoy what I'm doing, enjoy the activity of it versus the getting sort of pleasure and benefit from the achievement of something, when I feel like the cost of doing it is not worth that. So kind of want to go about it the other way around, and just do things when I'm able to do them and cope, and not worry too much about the consistency of stuff, even though that's always a pressure in the current online sphere of algorithms and views. And so and I try and balance that and be a bit mindful. I'm not putting pressure on myself. So hoping for a good sleep tonight, and take things one step at a time tomorrow.